¿De dónde salió usted? Para toda esa gente que no sabe.
Oye, de Puerto Rico, está al lado que me quieren, yo soy. Yo no siento que yo soy de ningún lado en específico, yo me siento orgulloso de ser de esta isla.
Lo importante es que el pueblo está con usted o yo. Esa es la mejor decisión. Si la exposición y la fama, esa es parte de la cosa.
We're preparing for, probably his biggest fight to date. It's been a long journey, throughout the years. I've been training Xander since he's about 11 years old, 11 or 12. He's coming on 22, and it's, the journey's been long, but we're culminating now with what his dream was, and that was to become, a champion.
Mientras corremos, los ojos se van a quedar en esta loseta. Son ejercicios que son fáciles al ojo, pero cuando lo empiezas a hacer y empiezas a practicarlo, pues son un poco más complicados. Tienes que concentrarte más. No simplemente en hacer el movimiento, pero mentalmente, físicamente, estar atento a lo que tienes que hacer.
Good, Xander.
Hi.
Hip tall, hip tall.
How you doing?
Accelerate that elbow to the floor. Come on. Drive that elbow down. Big reach. Good lad. Pause at the top. Nice. Two more. Come on. Good lad. Own it now. Own it. So as you can see, we've got a superset here, both primarily targeting backside of that shoulder girdle. So for someone like Xander, that just for training and his sport, he spends so much time in this kind of forward-leaning posture. Sometimes in the gym, it's not necessarily about developing your strengths, but ensuring that we maintain overall balance just for integrity of the joints and health long-term. So we've got a superset here, as you can see, isometric rows, phenomenal just for...
Xander Zayas is now locked into the hardest and most demanding training camp of his entire career, while the pressure and massive expectations around his fight with Jaron Ennis continue to grow with every passing day. At the same time, Javier Centeno keeps praising Zayas for the discipline and maturity he brings into camp, pointing to the way he steps up, takes control, and leads the work himself without waiting for someone to constantly push or guide him. But the real question is, will all of this pressure create a future champion or completely break him before fight night arrives?
To whatever he does, whether it's in the ring, outside the ring, it doesn't really matter. I mean, as you can see today, he takes charge of certain things, and he took charge of the workout today, which you don't get with many guys. They're always waiting to be told. And Xander's one to take that, he takes action with that.
At the same time, Xander Zayas' trainer sees this matchup as a dangerous and very real challenge, but he still remains completely confident in what Zayas will bring once he steps into the ring against the explosive power and pressure of Jaron Ennis, and that confidence could end up shocking the entire boxing world when fight night finally arrives.
Is, the person that he's fighting who, this is no walk in the park. The person he's fighting earned his world title shot the same way Xander did. I believe he's going to bring everything he has, and I believe that he's going to leave it all in the ring. And I think that the one thing that we know here is we don't overlook anything. We have a tremendous amount of respect for what he's going to bring in there, but we also know what Xander's going to bring in there.
But while Xander Zayas keeps building momentum and confidence inside training camp, Jaron Ennis is preparing with the mentality of a dangerous fighter who wants to remind the entire boxing world exactly why he's still considered the favorite heading into this massive showdown, and that mindset could change everything once the fight finally begins.
What do you want to do today? Look at my man right there. What's up, buddy?
What's
going on?
What we doing today?
Like we normally do. Shadow box 3-4 rounds. Hit the bag, and reflex back. Speed back, reflex back.
All right. So a total 10 or 12.
As long as you still doing 4 minutes a round.
Yeah, you good.
Oh, all right,
Look who came out here. Time to look down. Yeah. Better with the CBG order. I tell you earlier. Gotta get the CBG order. 2 big chicken with cheese, add the next sauce, add cheese. We go medium fry. Right now I gotta go medium hot seat because I'm in Canton. If I was outside of Canton, I'd go medium Sprite or Coke. That's the benefit of fighting at 154.
Beautiful feeling, man, that people come out and showing love to my son. That's a great opportunity, man, and it's great for the city of Philadelphia, you know. Boots going to really be a household name, even though people know him now, but he's going to be bigger than life.
I just want to get back in the ring, get back active. I'll fight anybody.
On the other side, Bozy Ennis believes Jaron Ennis started becoming too obsessed with chasing knockouts in certain fights, slowly drifting away from the sharp jab, patience, and balanced boxing style that originally made him one of the most dangerous and complete fighters in the sport, and now many are wondering if that change could finally cost him when the pressure gets real.
Knocking everybody out, you know what I mean? Then you forget, yo, what got you there? That jab, use that jab, and boxing move, you know, I mean, he was doing it though, but he wasn't doing it like he normally do. You seen some of his fights and you know what I'm talking about. He got so, I think, hung up on knocking, you know, guys out. And then he found out you can't punch. He don't care about you touching him. You know what I mean? But I want to get away from that. You know?
And the expectations surrounding Xander Zayas just keep getting heavier with every passing moment. Roy Jones Jr. sees Zayas as a fighter who should already be ready for the highest level of competition, pointing to everything he's already achieved in the division as proof that once success arrives, the bigger and more dangerous challenges naturally come with it.
If you're a two-time world champion across the board already, you're ready. If you're not ready, you shouldn't have got them. You shouldn't have got them 2 titles if you weren't ready. So if you got 2 titles, I don't want to hear that you're not ready. You better be ready because you're two-time world champion. You got 2 of the belts in the weight class. Everybody in the weight class want that. So you're behind.
That contrast is now becoming impossible to ignore. Timothy Bradley sees Xander Zayas as a fully prepared and dangerous challenge for Jaron Ennis, pointing to his physical strength, ring IQ, timing, and the way he creates openings with sharp counters and disciplined movement inside the ring. Bradley also believes Zayas has the kind of explosive offense that could expose the defensive mistakes Ennis has shown before, and that possibility is exactly why this fight is starting to feel far more dangerous than people expected.
In there with a young gun, man, just as hungry and energetic as he is. You understand that? Bigger than he is. Probably just as strong as he is. High boxing IQ, just as well as he does. You know, got skills, good counterpuncher, good legs, good movement. Can throws and punches, got a left hook. Which is a punch that Boots get hit with.
And that uncertainty only makes the tension around this matchup feel even bigger. Timothy Bradley completely rejects the idea of an easy night for Jaron Ennis, seeing the fight with Xander Zayas as far more dangerous and competitive than most people expect. Even though Bradley admits there are still questions about Zayas' power at the elite level, he believes this matchup is a real test that could expose weaknesses, answer major doubts, and reveal the truth about both fighters once the pressure finally hits on fight night.
Ain't no far-going conclusion Boots gonna knock out Xander. Yeah, I can see it both ways. I know Xander ain't got no pop like that, but man, this is a hell of a matchup. That's what I'm gonna tell y'all. This is a hell of a matchup right here, and this is gonna answer a lot of questions that I have.
The conversation now starts shifting toward the evolution of Xander Zayas himself. Max Kellerman believes Zayas has grown massively from the young prospect who first stepped into the spotlight, pointing to his recent performances, sharper boxing skills, smoother movement, better conditioning, and stronger physical presence as clear signs of a fighter slowly transforming into something far more dangerous at the highest level.
He was such a young fighter when we first saw him, and you don't have your man bones yet as a boxer. Now he's into his 20s, maybe a different fighter. What do you think of the matchup?
No, absolutely. I think in his last performance in Puerto Rico, he showed that boxing ability. Nice jab, nice movement, good stamina, endurance. And he's a big dude, man. I went for a jog with him in Puerto Rico.
The doubts surrounding this matchup are now starting to grow louder. Coach Greg Hackett respects Xander Zayas for his talent, discipline, and the steady improvement he's shown, but he still believes a fight against Jaron Ennis could be coming a little too early in Zayas' development. In his eyes, Ennis brings a level of experience, pressure, and danger that Zayas may not be completely ready to handle once the intensity of the fight truly kicks in.
I like Xander. Xander's a good fighter. I like Xander. I just think that Xander don't know enough. Yeah. And take a fight like this. I mean, granted, you get in this game, you're in this game to be the best. But I don't think he's ready for a fight like this. I mean, Xander's good, he can fight, but he's still a kid, still a baby, still in learning stages right now.
Unified champion, though, right?
He is.
Big kid. Seemed like he's getting better each and every fight.
And I agree, but boots and careers.
The danger surrounding this matchup is becoming harder and harder to ignore. Roy Jones Jr. believes Xander Zayas absolutely has the talent to challenge Jaron Ennis, but he still sees this fight as an enormous leap at such an early stage of Zayas' career. Jones feels a little more experience and time could have helped Zayas before stepping into a challenge this dangerous, because one mistake at this level can change everything in a single moment.
Florida, from your whereabouts, Xander Zayas, man. What do you think? You think he could beat Boots Ennis?
Well, if anybody can, it'd be him, but that's a hell of a task he's taking on at an early age, too, you know what I mean? So I would have liked to see him wait just a little bit longer, get a couple more fights in, but sometimes when the money calls, the fight has to happen. The money calls, the fight got.
And the stakes surrounding this matchup just keep getting bigger. Roy Jones Jr. sees the fight between Jaron Ennis and Xander Zayas as a collision between two elite fighters arriving at the perfect moment in their careers, believing the winner could separate himself as the future face of the division moving forward. Even though Jones views the matchup as extremely close and competitive overall, he still gives a slight advantage to Ennis because of the experience and composure he already brings into fights at the highest level.
The junior middleweight division for a little while, because those are the top two guys of the division. They're meeting at a great time, and whoever wins this fight should be the supreme 154-pounder right now.
Is this a fight that you dare to say is a 50-50 fight?
Yeah, it gives a 50-50 fight. I give it more, it's 50-50 in a sense, but because of the experience, you can go 60-40, 60 with Boots, 40 with Xander. But
the magnitude of this matchup continues getting bigger with every conversation around it. Paulie Malignaggi gives Xander Zayas a lot of respect for taking on massive challenges without fear or hesitation, but he also believes the timing of this fight could be a huge gamble at such an early stage in Zayas' rise, especially against an opponent capable of exposing even the smallest mistake under pressure.
We'll fight anybody. He's that kind of fighter. Super marketable fighter, so that's why I was surprised that they're taking this chance with him a little early. If he wins, he's a megastar. Ennis is one of the best fighters in the sport today. This is a fight I think both of them need, but I think Ennis needed it more because Ennis is a little older. With Zayas, you had time to wait on this kind of risk. So credit to both guys for making it, credit to the zone for making it, for getting all these promoters together.
And that's where this matchup starts becoming even more fascinating. Tim Tsayu believes Jaron Ennis holds clear advantages over Xander Zayas when it comes to overall sharpness, ring IQ, and quickness, seeing Ennis as a fighter operating one level above in several of the most important areas of this dangerous showdown, and that gap could end up deciding everything once the pressure reaches its peak.
Zayas Boots. Any else today?
Yeah, I got Boots. I think he's too skillful. IQ level, how quick he is. I think his levels are.
The debate around this fight suddenly takes another turn. Terence Crawford sees a matchup with Jaron Ennis as a massive challenge for Xander Zayas at this point in his career, while still respecting the confidence and ambition Zayas is bringing into a moment this dangerous. At the same time, the technical side of the matchup is creating even more questions, as many believe Zayas can become predictable during certain offensive exchanges, especially when the pressure rises and the pace of the fight starts forcing mistakes that elite fighters know how to punish instantly.
Tough fight, especially for Xander at this point in his career, but it shows his heart and his confidence, that he has in himself, and he's ready to go make history for his country, and he's going to do real well in that fight. I just think, right now, is a little bit.
And the technical side of this matchup is now creating even more questions. Andre Ward believes Xander Zayas can sometimes become predictable during certain offensive sequences, especially when he fully commits to damaging shots in close exchanges. He feels those habits could leave dangerous openings that a sharp and highly reactive fighter like Jaron Ennis might instantly recognize and exploit the second the fight starts getting chaotic.
so when he's on the center line, he might throw punches, but there's no power behind him. And if he's sitting on his right hand, same thing. He throws punches, quick shots, but those aren't the really dangerous shots. When he's trying to exchange and he wants to hurt you, you'll see his head go off center to the left over and over again. So he peeks, sort of like, I remember Salvador Sanchez used to hit you with those Jones, but then he'll peek over. So he'll peek over, throw a quick right hand, or he'll peek over, and if you freeze, or if he catches the right look that he's looking for, he's shooting a left hook or left hand to the body or left hand to the head almost every time. You know what I mean? And he throw it with weight and with power. That's what he does to try to hurt his opponents, right? But that gets him caught because that's his rhythm. Every time he was there against Sparmer was hitting him with short right hands and was just timing his move. Like whenever he would peek over here, that short right hand was coming almost every time, and Sparmer was catching him right on the chin with those. And then when he's pulling back out of that,
the pressure surrounding Jaron Ennis is now starting to intensify in a very different way. Brian Norman Jr. believes the massive expectations placed on Ennis could actually end up helping Xander Zayas, especially if this fight turns out to be much closer and more competitive than people are predicting. Norman even questions whether Ennis truly stands on the extraordinary level many fans believe he does, suggesting this matchup could completely change the way the boxing world views him once the pressure becomes impossible to hide.
Boots to dominate, and I think that's a good thing for Xander. The expectations are there for Boots to dominate. So therefore, if Boots go in there and look bad and even etch out a win, the talks are gonna be, is Boots, you know what I'm saying? Is he Superman? Is he really what he thought he was? You know what I'm saying? Then the whole shit had changed. You feel what I'm saying? I really think he's gonna look regular. I think he's a good fighter, but I think he's not fucking special. I don't know no special fighters out there right now.
And the confidence surrounding Xander Zayas just keeps growing stronger. Robert Garcia points to Zayas' belief in himself and his powerful physical presence as key reasons why this matchup could become far more competitive than many people expect. Garcia believes those advantages could start playing a huge role once the speed, pressure, and physical intensity of the fight begins settling in and both fighters are forced to deal with the reality of what's standing in front of them.
About himself, man. He sounds very confident. I talked to him and he's very confident, very positive. So definitely gave him a shot, man. You know, Boots has never been in that division for long. You know, only one fight in one round. So it could make a big difference. Xander's a big boy, man. Xander's a big boy that might be looking to moving up to 160, in the near future. So it's gonna.
The comparison between both fighters is now becoming more direct than ever. Stephen "Breadman" Edwards respects Xander Zayas as a solid, capable, and well-schooled fighter, but he still believes Jaron Ennis operates on an entirely different athletic level, with physical traits that only become more obvious the closer you study this matchup. In Breadman's view, those gaps could start to matter even more as the fight stretches into the later rounds, where speed fades, reactions slow down, and only true elite physical gifts tend to decide who stays in control.
I just don't, like when you line them up, I know everybody's like, Xander's just as fast, he's just as athletic, but he's not. He's not just as fast. He's bigger, but he's not just as fast, he's not as athletic, he's not as twitchy. He don't have the God-given gifts that Boots got. When you watch them side by side, you can see it. There's a different level of gift that the good Lord gave one. And he didn't, and it's just Xander is solid. He's very good, but Boots is on a different level.
And the concerns surrounding this matchup continue to build. Stephen "Breadman" Edwards believes Jaron Ennis brings clear advantages in durability, defensive control, and overall physical intensity heading into this fight. In his view, the non-stop pressure and physical demands of this matchup could become more and more difficult for Xander Zayas to handle as the rounds go on, where every second starts to test not just skill, but survival under elite-level force.
Clean. I watched his fights and his head snaps back a lot. And I just looked, I said, damn, they criticize Boots. Boots gets hit with single shots. Xander's head is snapping back pretty bad in his shot. So I think that Boots is better defensively than Xander. And I think that because of Xander's style, I think that it's going to be very energy depleting for him to have to move like that all night against somebody with the kind of firepower that Boots has. So I know that Xander might look bigger, but Boots is a strong dude, man. He could punch. Unless it's like some kind of freak accident, like a headbutt or like a weird disqualification or something, I don't see how Xander...
The praise around Jaron Ennis's overall skill set continues to build with every new analysis. Abner Mares sees Ennis as one of the most complete fighters in boxing right now, pointing to his elite conditioning, sharp discipline, distance control, and relentless work ethic as the foundation of his rise. Still, Mares warns that even a fighter this advanced isn't untouchable, and moments of defensive lapse could open the door for opportunities, if an opponent is ready enough to capitalize when the smallest mistake appears.
Well, that could cause this fight to actually not just be good on paper, but good to the fans.
I mean, there is no such thing as a perfect fighter. We all know that, but Boots is close to that. Boots is definitely close to that. Maybe one flaw that I see is that sometimes defensively he can be careless. Aside from that, I mean, his distance, his jab, his conditioning, the fact that he's, a hard worker, he's constantly in the gym. He's going to be a hard fighter to beat. I think he's one of those fighters that the only guys that can beat him sometimes will be themselves. And what I mean by that is maybe they take a fight lightly.
The complexity of this matchup keeps standing out more and more. Shane Mosley describes Jaron Ennis as a fighter who brings a difficult mix of adaptability, ring control, and offensive variety into the ring, with the ability to constantly shift looks and timing in a way that could slowly create problems for Xander Zayas over time. Even with all that praise, Mosley still sees this as a demanding, high-level challenge for both fighters, where nothing will come easy once the real pressure of the fight begins to unfold.
A tough fight for him because Boots is actually a big fighter too as well and has a lot of skills, not just punching power, but he has a lot of boxing skills as well. And he can go from right-handed to left-handed, at any time. So that could be a problem for Xander Zayas. But I think both guys, it's gonna be a hard fight, and I think it'll be a.
And now the tactical picture of this matchup starts to come into focus. Shane Mosley believes Xander Zayas may need a high-volume, movement-based approach if he wants to truly disrupt the rhythm and stop Jaron Ennis from settling comfortably into the fight. He suggests that constant activity, smart footwork, and sharp angles could be the only way to keep Ennis from taking full control, because once he finds his timing, the entire fight could start slipping away faster than expected.
In Xander Zayas, how do you get the job done? How do you nullify that speed? How do you stop that power?
Well, I think that Xander Zayas will have to be more of a volume puncher, kind of like with, I'm forgetting his name, Pandora.
Yes.
Like Pandora was like a volume puncher. And I think that he has to keep Boots in his, occupied with all the punches and movements and stuff like that. But if he stays there right in front of him, then, then Boots is going to, take his toll on him. But I think that activity for Xander.
That challenge is starting to feel even more serious now. Greg Hackett acknowledges Jaron Ennis as the more complete and polished fighter overall, but he still believes Xander Zayas brings a type of threat that could push Ennis far beyond his comfort zone. In Hackett's view, this isn't just another fight. It demands a different, sharper, more disciplined version of Ennis if he wants to walk away with success when the pressure reaches its peak.
In at 54. But Boots is, to me, better skilled, sharper, and I think he punched a little harder. More accurate. But I think it's a big fight because Xander knows that he can't just be his regular self. He can't be his normal self. He got to be his super version of himself. You know what I'm saying? He had to tap into that. And I feel like Boots understand that too. So that's actually just a great fight.
The pressure around this matchup just keeps building with every voice that enters the conversation. Andre Berto sees a potential clash between Jaron Ennis and Xander Zayas as one of the most intriguing fights developing in the entire division right now. He respects Zayas for chasing elite competition with this kind of urgency, but at the same time, Berto still questions whether a stage this massive might be arriving too early in his career, where one mistake can completely change everything in an instant.
That's the fight I think everybody wants to see coming up, man. That's going to be the fight to watch. I give credit, like the Zayas for stepping up to the plate like he did and really call and say that he wants this fight. But we're going to see if this fight is a little too much for him too soon. But if not, you're going to see the next new, Puerto Rican superstar, born in one night. You know what I mean? So, but for Boots, man, we're really going to see, if he can rise to the occasion. Because I'll tell you one thing, like I said, like MSG, Puerto Rican Day, it's going to be a completely different vibe. I've been there a few times for these big fights. That's a completely different type of atmosphere.
All right.
And suddenly, this matchup starts looking even more competitive than anyone expected. Deontay Wilder sees both Jaron Ennis and Xander Zayas bringing sharp instincts, quick reactions, and strong composure into the opening rounds, setting the stage for a tense, highly technical battle where every second matters. Even though he acknowledges Zayas' physical advantages, Wilder still slightly leans toward Ennis, pointing to those small but crucial traits that usually separate elite fighters when the fight gets close, chaotic, and impossible to control.
I think it's a high-level boxing match at the beginning. Xander start off fast, Boots start off fast. So it just, who gonna pull their will first? High IQ. Boot got very high IQ. Xander, he a little bigger, but I think Boots got more than.
The danger Xander Zayas brings into this matchup is starting to stand out more clearly with every new breakdown. Gary Russell Jr. believes Zayas becomes increasingly aggressive once he finds his confidence in exchanges, using pressure, sudden rhythm shifts, and non-stop offense to overwhelm opponents and drag them into uncomfortable, high-stress situations where mistakes start to happen. Even with that recognition, Russell still slightly leans toward Jaron Ennis in what he expects to be a brutal, physically demanding fight where every round feels like a test of endurance, timing, and survival.
The same. If you hit him and it don't do no harm to him and he just get emotional and try to come at you like a bull and he can feel that he can break you, oh, it's over. It's over. He gonna start applying that pressure. He gonna have a tight guard. He gonna start fainting you, and he gonna work off of those feints in numbers. He not just gonna be, one hard. Nah, shorty can rumble. I like him. I do. I really do, but I'm going with Boots. 60-40 split. If it is a knockout, which it probably...
The psychological side of this matchup is now starting to get more attention. Gary Russell Jr. praises Xander Zayas for the confidence and natural fighting instincts he brings into every exchange, but he also notices moments where that same competitiveness can push him into overly aggressive reactions during heated exchanges. Still, Russell respects Zayas' toughness and believes his confidence only grows stronger once he starts finding success in the ring, making him even more dangerous as the fight progresses and pressure begins to rise.
Xander got a puncher's chance and a fighter's chance, and he's not no stupid fighter, but I feel like he still got that young mindset. When he get touched, he's definitely like, all right, come on, motherfucker. And he get antsy, he get rageful, like, don't get stupid. Boots, he'll get touched, like, all right, he pride himself off for taking a good shot, like, all right, ain't nothing, it's cool, but he gonna stick to the script. You know what I mean? And if he feel like he can do something and embarrass you, then he'll try it. He'll try it, and if he get away with it, he's like, oh yeah, I got this motherfucker. Then he start building on his confidence.
Xander Zayas now walks into the biggest fight of his career carrying momentum, growing confidence, and a quiet but dangerous belief that he can disrupt one of boxing's most feared rising forces. But standing across from him is Jaron Ennis, a fighter still widely seen as operating on a completely different level the moment the pressure rises and the real in-fight adjustments begin to unfold. With both men entering this clash carrying something to prove, the tension keeps building with every passing second, until everything narrows down to one haunting question. Does Zayas have the style, the confidence, and the non-stop activity to break the rhythm early and shake Ennis before he settles in? Or does Boots take full control once the fight drifts into the deeper, more dangerous rounds where experience and control usually decide everything? Drop your predictions in the comments.